Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Tell Like It Is show with Leon David. Now, today I will be talking about, yep, that's right, you guessed it, Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion about their new song and video called The WAP.
I'm in the whack, 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 whack. Now let me see you whack, 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 yeah.
Once again, no, not that WAP, not W-O-P WAP. Okay, that's a different kind of WAP. I'm talking about W-A-P WAP. People calling it the WAP. So everybody can get kind of confused every now and then. But I'm talking about Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion, the WAP. Okay, that one. Now, so this song that they brought out now is very adult. The video is very adult. It's not for children of any age, just adults. You probably gotta be like at least 30 to actually watch it. So make sure that none of your kids sees the video or listen to the song. But there's this guy named Ceelo Green. He's a rapper they used to roll with Outkast and them back in the day. I mean, he was a part of Goody Mob from the 90s, and then he did his solo career. You know, he was on and popping at one point in time. And he comes out of nowhere and he just says some real stuff about how the women of today in hip hop are, and there's a time and a place for everything. So basically, I'm about to show y'all a clip from Clever Music. It's CeeLo Green and what he has said in his interviews about black women in hip hop today. So let's get his side of the story. Let's see what he has to say, and let's get into it.
In an interview with Far Out magazine, Ceelo spoke about his love of old pop music and went on to share his opinion about what today's music is lacking. Ceelo said, quote, "A lot of music today is very unfortunate and disappointing on a personal and moral level. There was once a time when we were savvy enough to code certain things. We could express to those what it was meant for with the style of language we used. But now music is shameless. It is sheer savagery."
Now I have to stop it right there because I agree with 100% of what he said because, you know, I'm old enough to remember the 90s, the early 2000s. You know, I was there. And I remember Eazy-E. I remember all those people when they were alive, Tupac, Biggie. I was there when they were alive. So I remember back in the day, music was more lyrical. Like, you had to be like the top dog to be on the radio. If you wasn't like spitting or if you wasn't clever enough to like, you know, like you don't have to be the best lyricist, but you do have to come with something different and unique. You know, I think that we have lost our way. The music of today is just a bunch of savagery. We just keep calling ourselves savage, other kind of names. It's, you know, this is the most weirdest part about this. Back in the day when my parents were growing up, back in the 1940s and 50s, I mean, white people used to call black people savages and all kind of names. The men and women, they used to degrade the men and the women back in the day. And it's crazy how nowadays you see the rappers calling themselves savage and all of these other crazy names. I mean, why can't we just call ourselves something good, like genius or smart or something? Like, we need to be doing better and stop calling ourselves savages and all these other crazy names.
He further went on to say, quote, "We are adults. There should be a time and a place for adult content. As adults and artists, we should at least attempt to be each other's accountability partners in some regard. The stereotypes that are celebrated and perpetuated ultimately make the perception a reality. It is disenfranchising and it has caused a great deal of problems."
Okay, so I do agree with him 100%. We are the adults. We have to start acting like adults. There's a time and place for adult content. Yes, like we should not act like, you know, children. A lot of us have the mindset of little children. And I realize that the people of today they're so scared to say something. Like they're so scared to hold other people accountable. Like they're so afraid to like just tell the truth to people because they realize that if they do, then people all be like, well, you're being judgmental and all this other stuff, and F you, I'm gonna do whatever. And it's like, yo, why are you getting mad at me for just trying to help you or something like that, for holding you accountable for your actions. And yes, I am judging you in a sense of I'm judging you by your actions. I mean, I believe that you should not judge a person by the color of their skin or man or woman or any of that kind of stuff, but judge a person by the actions of their hearts. That is what is important to me. That's what I base my judgment on. It seemed like no one want to hold anyone accountable anymore, and like you say something that somebody don't like, then you're a bigot or you're this or you're that, and then they'll just start calling you a male chauvinist. It's crazy, just crazy.
Ceelo went on to specifically mention today's female artists, including Carti B, Megan Thee Stallion, and Nicki Minaj. He criticized Nicki Minaj by saying, quote, "You have the heads of state like Nicki Minaj or someone who is up there in accolade. Success, visibility, a platform to influence. Nicki could be effective in so many other constructive ways, but it feels desperate." And then he went on to offer his opinion on Carti B and Megan Thee Stallion, saying, quote, "Attention is also a drug and competition is around. Carti B and Megan Thee Stallion, they are all more or less doing similar salacious gesturing to kind of get into position. I get it, the independent woman and being in control, the divine femininity and sexual expression. I get it all, but it comes at what cost?"
Now, I will say this. Yes, all of these women are desperate. I mean, come on. They're doing all of these things just to, sit at the top? Like, they'll do anything to be at the top. That is because they are desperate. And they just want attention. Like, I mean, they don't want to work for it. They don't want to, try to be the best that they can be or whatever. They just want attention, and that's it. Like, it is horrible. Think about it. Why would you make a video like that? It's because of attention. You want the attention and the money. That's all they care about. I mean, I don't know why he was, bringing up femininity. There's nothing feminine about any of this stuff that they're doing. They're not about femininity. They're about attention and money. That's about it.
Ceelo's comments came after Cardi B teamed up with Megan Thee Stallion to release their latest single, WAP, which raised some eyebrows due to its explicit nature. Others have criticized the song and music video as well, including conservative politician Ben Shapiro, who dissected the lyrics and said, quote, "This is what feminists fought for. This is what the feminist movement was all about. And if you say anything differently, it's because you're a misogynist." See?
And that is so true what he said. I mean, it's a dang shame when someone else who's not a part of the black community have to come out and say something about it. Have to come out and say, "Hey, stop this. What are you doing? You're acting crazy." And you know what? We should have been the first ones to correct this behavior, to say, "Hey, this is wrong." We shouldn't have white people or other people to stand out and say something about it. We should be the first one to say, "Hey, you're making us look bad. You're making the black community look bad." And what he's saying is true. It's very true. As soon as you say something that these people don't like, they're going to call you names.
See? Cardi B addressed the backlash online, writing, "I can't believe conservatives so mad about WAP." Megan Thee Stallion also tweeted about the backlash, writing, "LOL, dudes will scream slob on my knob word for word and crying about WAP. Bye, little boy." As you can imagine, the backlash did not sit well with fans, and they took to Twitter to share their thoughts. One fan said, "Women are supposed to be submissive according to them. Women aren't allowed to have a choice and certainly not allowed to enjoy sex or have a sex drive." Another fan tweeted, "They worried about women talking about their WAP, but not worried about their president talking about grabbing a woman by her P word." Interesting.
Okay. I will be fair. That is true. When that song, "Slob on My Knob," came out, everybody was saying it, but let's just be real. I mean, they wasn't talking like that about men. They was degrading women. The same thing with the president. Yeah, it was a bad thing that the president said. I mean, he shouldn't have said it. But let's be real. I have heard of women, matter of fact, I know some women that said that if they ever see Drake, they'll let them grab him by the P. I heard women say that before. I mean, it's not like he was lying when he say that if you have enough money, women will let you do that. Yeah, those kind of women will let you do it. But I know women that don't, and they'll get offended if you even talk like that. Now let's see what this woman has said on her account, because this is just kind of annoying to me. Look at this. She said, "I can't believe conservatives so mad about WAP." Like, why you gotta put everything on the conservatives? Why is it just not that some women just don't like it because it's degrading to them? I mean, you can't blame it on the guys and say, hey, it's the men that are making black women look bad. No, it's black women that are making black women look bad. You can't blame it on the white man. I mean, you can't blame it on anyone. I mean, no one really forced you to do this song, and to bring this video out where you're almost naked and just doing all of these things. And let's look what this other person said. Let's see what this other person have said. Women are supposed to be submissive. According to them, women aren't allowed to have a voice, certainly not allowed to enjoy sex or have a sex drive. I mean, I don't know who have she been talking to, but I mean, I don't know why women today are talking about submissive like it's a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with being submissive to someone, especially if you're someone's wife. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But then she's talking about how conservatives don't want women to have a sex drive. I mean, that's not true. I mean, everyone have a sex drive. Some have it high, some have it low. But it's not really about your sex drive. It's your actions. Like you're showing, these little girls that it's okay to be prostitutes. You're showing the little girls it's okay to cuss every 5 seconds. It's okay to degrade yourself and then blame it on the man or blame it on whoever else. That's where the problem is at.
And other fans pointed out the fact that Ceelo Green has faced sexual assault allegations against women in the past, and that he has no right to judge these artists based on the music they choose to make. One fan said, "Imagine a man who allegedly drugged women, raped them, and said it's consent if they are unconscious, speaking on what's appropriate or not. Sit your whack ass down, Ceelo Green." This fan tweeted, "Ceelo Green drugged a woman in an attempt to have sex with her while unconscious. The fact that he is even still allowed to sell records is a miscarriage of justice, let alone for him to have an opinion on women artists."
And it's hard to speak on a case like that because when you're rich or when you're famous, they do have people who lie about things like that, and then they have people who are telling the truth. I mean, it's so hard. That's why it's like I can't really talk about it too much. Yeah, and you know what? Because when you're older, you might gonna regret saying these things, because let's just say, back then you were saying all this crazy stuff, but now you're older and you see somebody else doing something crazy or crazier or whatever, and you're trying to point it out and say, hey, that's not right. And then they're just gonna look back and go, hey, well, you said this and that on your records, in your music, so why are you bothering me about it? And that's the reason why we have to be very careful of what we say and what we do, because it can come back to bite you. I mean, you probably said something and somebody will probably bring it back up and say, well, you did this and that. And now you're just either going to have to be quiet or, just sit there and take it. So it's like, you have to be very careful of what we say. You don't want to regret, years later regret saying, oh, I shouldn't have said that in my music.
Since making those comments and getting slammed online for his controversial opinion, Ceelo Green is now backtracking. He took to Instagram on Wednesday to share this lengthy post. Ceelo began his apology by writing, "There seems to be a misunderstanding with a quote taken from an interview I did a few days ago while promoting my new project. Firstly, I'm an advocate of artistic freedom and expression, as well as a fan of Nicki, Carti, and Megan." He continued on to say, quote, "I know most of them personally and consider Carti and Offset family. Therefore, I would never disrespect them all as powerful, beautiful, and influential women and professionals. I wholeheartedly apologize to each of them for the inconvenience they've been caused due to a snippet of my interview being used as a headline and in turn creating controversy and disconnect between me and these ladies as well as their fans." And he concluded the post by writing, "Know that I support everyone who is part of our community and culture. Always have and always will. Much love to all of the female artists who are running the game and handling their business.
Look at what this man just said in the interview. This is crazy. Just look at that. It's a misunderstanding? Something's wrong with this guy. I mean, he's taking back everything he said the first time. I mean, now he's talking about how it's a misunderstanding. But before, he was saying there should be a time and a place for adult content. What's wrong with that? And then he was saying like how we should be each other accountability partner, and how we celebrate the worst stereotypes, and because of it, it led to a great deal of problems. Now he's saying that he's an advocate of artistic freedom and expression. Nothing wrong with that, but now he's saying that he would never disrespect them and that he knows some of them personally. Well, first of all, you know them personally, then you should be the one to check them when they're out of line. Number two is like, they're disrespecting themselves. Look, no one told these women to go out here and call yourself the B word and call yourself trash and call yourself a male horse. Like Megan Thee Stallion, if you know what this Thee Stallion means, a stallion is a horse that is a male and still have his private parts. No one is telling these women to call themselves all of these crazy names. They're doing it to themselves. Whatever happened to men who stood for something, men who actually believe in what they're saying, who didn't take it back just because, oh, I made this person cry, I'm sorry. Whatever happened to the men like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., Muhammad Ali, all of these men who actually stood their ground. And if you really believe in what you're saying, then stick with it. Don't take it back just because you got backlash. And that lady who talked about like, oh, well, everybody was jamming when Slob on my Knob came out. Like, come on, like back then people were more clever with their lyrics. Young kids didn't know what that means. They were probably thinking like, slob on my knob, corn on the cob. They were probably just thinking, oh, she must really like corn. She must be really hungry. Back then people were clever. They know how to be creative and say things that were adult, but kids wouldn't understand. Nowadays it's just straight up blunt. Like they'll just straight up say it. That's the problem with this song. Because everyone knows what WAP means. Once you read it, you pretty much know what they're talking about and what the song is about. So let me know how you feel about the video in the comment section down below. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can see a new video whenever I post. Until then, later.